Meanwhile, President Trump touting the improving economy today, but, well, not everyone thinks he should be. There's a headline out today from Associated Press that reads, Trump claims credit for what is still mostly Obama's economy. This as reports have surfaced that President Obama planning to campaign and fundraise for Democrats in this year's midterm elections. But what about the economy, the markets, tax cuts, regulation cuts, unemployment rate? All under President Trump have been beyond magnificent. Here now to discuss my panel, Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli, David Nelson, Belpointe Asset Management Chief Strategist, and back with us, Heather Higgins, Independent Women's Voice President and also CEO. Deneen, let me start with you. Today we had initial jobless claims at their lowest level since 1973. It's just the latest. Every time we get one of these numbers out, they've got to go way back to find anything like it.
I think it's great news, and unemployment is at historical low levels, especially in the black unemployment numbers. And it's funny how the left is saying we should credit former President Obama. I call it fake credit to Obama, because look at the environment that he created with the regulations, with the high taxes. That wasn't an environment for pro-growth, for a pro-growth economy. And we're seeing the exact opposite now with the tax rollbacks. The regulations are rolling back, jobs are coming back, and it's manufacturing is up. So it's all good news for Americans.
Over 180,000 manufacturing jobs created last year. David, you know what was interesting is initially Democrats and the mainstream media was just saying that President Obama deserved credit for correcting the massive, fall in the markets and the economy. But in a way, it's an admission at least that the economy is on fire, that they're trying to assign credit to someone else.
I think it's fair to say, look, markets went higher under President Obama, but the economy stalled. And it's not surprising. We had a very anti-business message. It was about regulations, regulated to death. And lo and behold, the president comes in, he rolls back the regulatory overreach of the last 8 years, puts in a tax code that doesn't actually encourage corporations to leave the country. It's not surprising that we're getting such a huge bump in GDP, and it's starting to translate into the business community that are starting to give that money back into the real economy.
There's also an intangible highlighted by all the kerfuffle, if you will, over that word that was used about the bully pulpit and the sort of the enthusiasm that can come from there. And President Trump created enthusiasm immediately. Small business confidence went through the roof. Consumer confidence went through the roof. Almost immediately, these things happened as soon as they took polls after the election. So there was something different out the gate.
Yes, absolutely. And you can see it in how dramatically different the numbers are. You can see it in the fact that the Fed is already, you've had Atlanta and New York both already bumping up their estimates for this. You can see it in the enthusiasm of the stock market, which, as we all know, is about the future, not about the past, and what the expectations are that we're going to see. And it's not surprising that President Obama is trying to defend his legacy as Trump systematically undoes a lot of the things that he did that were crippling. But the reason he's doing that is that what he doesn't understand is that Trump is his legacy. It's the reaction to how bad he was for the economy, that the most it could do coming out of that awful recession was this very limping, halting, barely ever getting off the ground recovery, which was just unprecedentedly bad.
Someone like me, I crunch numbers. Today I spent my time looking at Caterpillar's retail sales. I looked at Class 8 truck orders. There's a lot of evidence out there. But the regular people out there right now, most Americans, Deneen, are still in these polls giving President Obama credit for this. So the messaging is obviously critical. It's important, particularly when people go back into the voting booth.
Republicans should be running all day long with the great accomplishments that are coming out of this administration. And I have one word for the naysayers, Charles: announcements. These companies are announcing. They're making the announcements on their own. CVS, BB&T, even Comcast. Brian Roberts is a huge Obama supporter. He even said because of the rollback in taxes and regulations that they're giving bonuses and increasing wages.
Yeah, I heard the folks at MSNBC turned theirs down. But no, David, to that point, obviously, as this keeps going, it's going to be harder and harder to not give President Trump the credit he deserves. And I think the irony of it is it's really come on strongest over the last 3 months.
I think what's happening behind closed doors, they'd hate to admit it, but behind closed doors in Democratic meetings, they're saying, oh, my God, what if this guy actually does it and can really goose this economy? If we're looking at 3.5% to maybe 4% GDP growth, come towards the election cycle, the calculus is going to change, and you're going to see Democrats scramble to change that rhetoric at that point.
And there is the anecdotal evidence. The average person driving to a local mall will see more help wanted signs. People are going to start seeing their paychecks go up as a consequence of work, but also as a consequence of this tax cut. I mean, these things often work out themselves after a point.
Absolutely. I mean, remember, Obama was loved personally. His personality was winning. Nobody complained about how he talked, even when he used the S word. But his policies were really not liked. Trump is the obverse. His personality gets criticized, but his policies are liked. And so far what we're seeing is that policies trump personality. And ultimately what will matter here is how the economy actually does. And in turn, that will change some of the perceptions of Trump. But the left is constantly trying to make this be about the way Trump does things, not what he is doing, because they know that the what he is doing is not good news for them.
I'll take the guy who gets it done.
Is that
Well, you know what? I tell you, I think most people will do that. They'll lie to the pollsters and grin all the way to the bank with those newfound riches. Thank you all very much.